Welcome back to the Health and Wealth Transformation Podcast. Today we're diving into something that I think pretty much all of us can relate to at some point, and that is weight management.
Yeah.
It's a topic that can be kind of frustrating for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
They're all juggling these busy schedules, and our metabolisms, they just aren't quite what they used to be.
Right.
And, those extra pounds, they just seem to hang around a little longer.
Yeah, it's a common struggle, especially in, I think, today's world.
For sure, yeah.
Our bodies are just remarkably efficient at, storing energy.
It's like our bodies are saying, hey, just in case you have to run from a saber-toothed tiger later, we better hold on to all these calories.
Exactly.
But instead of running from predators, we're sitting at desks and, commuting in cars. So it's like, where do we even start?
Right. Well, have you ever heard of the term thermogenesis?
Oh, thermogenesis. That sounds a little intimidating.
Yeah.
Like something I should remember from high school biology class.
Yeah.
But maybe not.
It's actually quite fascinating, though, when you really get into it.
Okay.
Thermogenesis is basically your body's internal furnace.
Okay.
It's the process of burning calories to produce heat. And, the more efficient this process is, the better your body is going to be at managing weight.
So it's kind of like our metabolism in action.
Exactly. Think of it this way. Every time you eat, your body has to work to break down those foods and convert them into energy.
Okay.
And that process itself, generates heat.
Okay.
But here's the thing. Some foods actually require more energy to digest than others.
Oh, so you're saying that not all calories are created equal.
Precisely. It's not just about counting calories, but about understanding how those calories are processed by your body.
Right.
This is where the concept of the thermic effect of food comes in.
Okay.
For example, protein takes more energy to digest than carbohydrates or fats.
Interesting. So a high-protein meal could actually boost my metabolism.
It can certainly contribute to a higher thermic effect.
Okay.
Meaning your body burns more calories just by breaking down that food.
Wow.
And this is where things get really exciting because we can actually influence our thermogenesis in several ways.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Yeah.
Tell me, what are some ways that we can turn up the heat on our metabolism?
Well, as we just discussed, diet plays a significant role.
Right.
But it's not just about protein.
Okay.
Certain foods like chili peppers, ginger, and even green tea contain compounds that have been shown to increase thermogenesis.
Wow, so sipping on some green tea can help.
It's all about those little nudges that can add up over time.
Yeah, okay.
And speaking of nudges, another powerful way to boost your metabolic furnace is through exercise.
Of course, exercise.
Yeah.
But what's the best type of workout for boosting that thermogenesis?
Strength training is particularly effective because it helps build muscle mass.
Right.
And muscle tissue is metabolically active, meaning it burns more calories even at rest.
Oh, okay.
Think of it like adding, more horsepower to your internal engine.
So even after I finish lifting weights, my body is still burning calories.
Exactly. That's the beauty of strength training.
I like that.
And then there are some, really interesting natural products that have been studied for their potential to enhance thermogenesis.
And that's where pHix comes into play, right?
Yeah, pHix is designed to harness the power of natural ingredients that have been, researched for their thermogenic properties.
Sure.
But before we get into that, I'd love to actually share some insights from Ann Corbin, who has a fascinating perspective on this whole idea of weight management.
Yes. Our conversation with her was so intriguing.
Yeah.
She really emphasized that holistic approach, right?
Absolutely. Ann's philosophy goes beyond, just that number on the scale.
Right.
It's about that overall well-being, feeling good in your body, having energy, and, embracing a lifestyle that supports your health goals.
That's something that really resonated with me.
Yeah.
It's not just about shrinking our waistlines. It's about feeling good from the inside out.
Exactly. It's about making sustainable changes that become part of your life.
Right.
Not just a temporary fix.
Yeah.
And that's where I think understanding thermogenesis can be a game changer.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so easy to get caught up in the quick fix mentality.
Right.
But, what Anne really highlighted is that true transformation comes from a deeper understanding of our bodies, right?
Yeah, that's right. She often talks about shifting our focus from just weight loss to something she calls metabolic flexibility.
Metabolic flexibility. That sounds interesting.
Yeah.
What does it mean exactly?
Think of it as your body's ability to switch gears efficiently between burning, different fuel sources.
Okay.
So someone with high metabolic flexibility can, seamlessly transition between using glucose for energy and tapping into those stored fat reserves when needed.
Okay, so instead of being stuck in like one metabolic mode,
Mhm.
we're able to adapt to different situations.
Exactly. And this adaptability, I think, is key for maintaining a healthy weight, optimizing energy levels, and even supporting hormonal balance.
So it's about more than just weight management. It affects like our overall health.
Absolutely. And one of the key drivers of metabolic flexibility is, you guessed it, thermogenesis.
Uh-huh. It
Yeah.
all comes back to that internal furnace.
Right. The better your body is at generating heat, the more adaptable your metabolism becomes. And Anne often uses the analogy of a well-tuned engine.
Okay.
Just like a car that can, effortlessly switch gears, a body with robust thermogenesis can efficiently use different fuel sources.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
So how does Fix fit into this picture then? Does it like help with metabolic flexibility?
Well, Fix is formulated with natural ingredients that have been studied for their potential to support thermogenesis.
Right, but you mentioned earlier that it's not like a magic bullet.
That's right. It's important to emphasize that Fix is a tool that can be part of a holistic approach.
Okay.
It's not about, replacing those healthy habits, but potentially enhancing the efforts that you're already making.
So it's like having an extra boost to support the changes that we're making in our diet and exercise routine.
Exactly. And I think it's also worth mentioning that some people might experience thermogenesis differently.
Oh, okay.
Factors like genetics, age, and even gut health can play a role.
Yeah, that makes sense. We're all unique. Our bodies respond to things differently.
Precisely. And that's why it's so important to listen to your body and, find what works best for you.
Right. Okay. So what are some like simple steps that our listeners can take to start incorporating these ideas into their lives? Like, where can they start making those small but mighty changes?
Well, let's go back to the basics. We've already touched on the power of protein and strength training.
Right. So prioritizing those would be like a great first step.
Absolutely. But here's another simple yet often overlooked tip. Don't underestimate the power of non-exercise activity thermogenesis, or NEAT for short.
Neat. What is that?
It's essentially all the movement that you do outside of, formal exercise. Things like walking, fidgeting, even doing chores around the house.
So all those little movements throughout the day actually contribute to calorie burning.
Exactly. And these little bits of activity can really add up significantly over time.
I love that.
Yeah.
So even taking the stairs instead of the elevator or walking to a colleague's desk instead of emailing can make a difference.
It all adds up. And encourages her clients to think about their daily routines and find ways to incorporate more movement.
Okay.
It could be as simple as setting a timer to, stand up and stretch every hour, or taking a short walk during your lunch break.
Those are some really practical tips, and I think it's important to remember that, weight management is not just about willpower. It's about creating an environment that supports our goals.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
It's about making those healthy choices, the easy choices.
Right. This is all starting to make so much sense. It's
Yeah.
not about like punishing ourselves with these restricted diets or grueling workouts, but about, making gradual, sustainable changes that align with our like overall well-being.
Exactly. It's about finding that sweet spot where, healthy habits become a natural part of your life.
Right. It sounds like Anne's approach really resonates with you.
It does. I've seen firsthand how focusing on metabolic flexibility and incorporating those, small but mighty changes can have a profound impact on people's lives. And I think it's something that can benefit anyone regardless of their weight goals.
This has been such an insightful conversation. I
Yeah.
feel like I have a much deeper understanding of how my body works now
Yeah.
and the tools that I can use to support my, health goals.
I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah, it's amazing how all these pieces kind of fit together, from
Yeah.
like the science of thermogenesis to those practical tips for, boosting our metabolism.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I used to think that weight management was all about,
Yeah.
calories in, calories out, but it's so much more nuanced than that.
Yeah. It really is. And, I think one of the most important takeaways from Anne's work is that it's not just about the physical aspects of weight management, but also the mental and emotional aspects as well.
Right. You're right. She talks about the importance of self-compassion
Yeah.
and developing that healthy relationship with food.
Right.
It's not about punishing ourselves for indulging every now and then.
Yeah.
But rather it's about making choices that nourish us both, like physically and emotionally.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance and recognizing that, we're all on a journey.
Right.
There will be ups and
Yeah.
downs, and that's okay.
It's about progress, not perfection.
Right. Precisely. And one of the things that I love about Anne's approach is that she encourages people to focus on what they can do
Yeah.
rather than what they can't.
Right. It's about empowering ourselves to make those small but mighty changes that over time
Yeah.
can lead to, some remarkable transformations.
Exactly. And sometimes those transformations go like far beyond, just the physical changes.
Oh.
I've seen, clients who through this process have discovered a newfound confidence and a, deeper sense of self-love.
Well, that's so inspiring to hear. It's a reminder that weight management is not just about like fitting into a certain size. It's about feeling good in our own skin and embracing all that we are.
Absolutely. And I think that's a message that resonates, deeply with a lot of people.
Well, this has been an incredible conversation. I feel like we've just scratched the surface of this topic.
Right. There's always more to learn.
Yeah.
And I encourage your listeners to, keep exploring, keep researching, and finding what works best for them on their own health journeys.
Absolutely. And for our listeners who want to learn more about Anne and her approach, where can they find her?
You can visit her website at annecorbininfo.com. She has a wealth of resources there, including articles, videos, and even information about, her coaching programs.
Fantastic. And we'll be sure to include that link in the show notes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Health and Wealth Transformation Podcast.
Oh, it's been a pleasure.
We hope you leave feeling inspired and empowered to take charge of your health and well-being.
It's been a pleasure sharing these insights with you and your listeners. Remember, small steps can lead to big changes.
Yes.
So be kind to yourselves, celebrate your progress, and keep moving forward on your path to a